every line. There's some things which are very difficult. We have to do a lot of research and commentary, but we'll move along and do the best we can under these circumstances. So we're looking at page 315, and we're up to the bottom of the page, where it starts, the sages taught in a brisa. The sages taught in a brisa. There's a verse that states, for Hashem shall judge his people. He will atone for his servants when he sees that their power is gone and there's nothing, I don't know, but we translate none shut up or left. I don't know what shut up means. It doesn't mean shut up. It means that there's nothing left, put it that way. What is this referring to? What is this alluding to? From the phrase where it says their power is gone, remember we said that one of the things we see in the Talmud is contrary to what everybody thinks. Everybody's imagining that this is, there's an expression in English, the light at the end of the tunnel. When you're in a tunnel, as you're in the tunnel, it's dark. When you get closer to the end of the tunnel, it gets brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. So we would expect a sequence, things getting progressively better and better and better and better and better until Moshiach comes and all the good comes popping out. But here in the Gemara actually keeps describing the opposite, that there'll be a lot of other things happening which are not so positive. At the same time, there'll be amazing things happening that are positive. So here's another one of those. It says that Mashiach will come when there'll be nothing left. What does that mean? So one commentary says like this, from the phrase, their power is gone, what we can derive from that is that the son of David, that's another way of referring to Mashiach, will not come until informers will proliferate. Alternatively, Mashiach will not come, but that's the one thing. We touched on this last time, that to inform is considered a very big violation of Torah. Why? So we explained that basically every country has their system of law and order. And Hashem gave us a system of law and order, which is the Torah. If a person says, I want to go to court, or I'm taking you to court, they're basically saying, I don't want Hashem's law and Hashem's system of law and order. I want America's or Russia's or France or England, wherever country I live in. And the Gemara says this is like a slap in the face to Hashem. So to inform is a very negative thing. And it doesn't matter if by informing you're endangering the person's life, or you're just causing a loss of money, or some other kind of, it doesn't matter. The mere fact that you're choosing to go to secular authorities, and you choose to do that over the Torah authorities, that means that you're in defiance of Hashem, and you're violating your relationship with Hashem, and you're insulting the Torah. So before Mashiach comes, we're going to see such a low that there'll be many, many people that will be doing this. And by the way, I remember I mentioned it last time, that's what happened to Moshe before the Jews went out of Egypt. What happened to Moshe was that he killed an Egyptian who was beating up a Jew, and then there were two Jews who informed Paro that he did this, and as a result of that, they caught him, they arrested him, and they were going to kill him. It was only a miracle that he didn't get killed. But from their end, they were going to kill him because these two Jews informed. So we find that before going out of Egypt, there were informers. And here too, before going out of this Galus, we'll see that again. Then there's another explanation. Mashiach will not come until the number of students of Torah diminishes. That'll come at a time where there'll be such a lack of interest in Torah study that the number of people studying Torah will be much less than what was in previous generations. But another thing, Mashiach will not come until the pruta will cease from the purse. There'll be such a financial decline, people will be so bad off financially, they'll have no money left in their pockets. So the first one talks about a spiritual decline, And this one talks about a financial decline. And then there's a fourth thing. Alternatively, Mashiach will not come until they despair from the redemption. It'll be so, Jews will be so down and so in despair from everything that happened in the past that they will lose their hope that we'll ever go out of Golus. Turn to page 316. I want to stop for a second. So the term, the words you just read is Mashiach will not come until this happened, until that happened, the other thing happened. So that means that these things must happen. On the other hand, we're supposed to believe every single day that Mashiach can come today, even if these things didn't happen before. And not only that, but there's actually a halacha. And the halacha is that if a person makes a vow, or takes an oath, and says, the day Mashiach comes, I'm going to become a nazir, which means I'm going to be prohibited from drinking wine. So the halacha is, from that day on, he's never allowed to drink wine again. Because maybe Mashiach will come. That means every single day, halachically, is a potential day for Mashiach. How could every day be a potential halacha for Mashiach if all these things are prerequisites? They must happen before. So if they didn't happen, I know for sure he's not coming today. So we see from this halacha and many other sources that no, every single day Mashiach can come. Even though it says here, he won't come until this and this. So a lot of these things, especially those that are negative things, because we do mitzvahs, we do study Torah, we do other positive things, this merit could prevent these things from happening. And it doesn't have to happen. Or it happens in some sort of a spiritual way, not physically. But practically, no one should ever say, I know for sure he's not coming today because these things didn't happen yet. Yes?
I'm extremely confused.
Extremely. Oh, yeah. No. Should have another coffee. Yeah.
We just said that we're supposed to be learning less.
That was supposed to. It's saying a prophecy that when Moshiach comes, this is what's going to happen. People will be so distant spiritually that there'll be the least amount of people studying Torah compared to.
The whole point of Torah is to spread, like to study normal less.
Right, of course. So that's what I'm saying. It doesn't mean Chas v'Shalom that, therefore we should stop learning Torah to make Mashiach come soon. This is not what makes him come. It's a prophecy that when Mashiach comes, the situation will be so dire, so bad, that people will stop learning Torah. So what do we need to do? We need to do the opposite, try to get more people to study Torah, and that merit, Mashiach will come. But this is just showing the mere fact that we have to spread and tell people to learn Torah means we're in this stage already that less people are learning Torah.
Thank you.
If you look at a college campus and say, wow, that would be nice if all these people would be learning Torah in this campus. The yeshiva is like this building, we have enough people here for 60 students, 70 students, maybe 100 students. We have a little bit more than that. We're at a business. But college campus, that means there's more people out there studying in the colleges than studying Torah, right? Very clear. There was a time in history where there were tens of thousands of people around the world that were studying Torah. And again, it says, Mashiach won't come until we give up. Doesn't mean we should stop believing in Mashiach so to make him come sooner. No, it's saying when Mashiach comes, naturally, people are going to be so low that they're going to lose their hope in Mashiach. And therefore, what we need to do is strengthen that. So we shouldn't have. But it shows where we'll be standing. Kihod Rab Zera. Oh, sorry, back to the English. This is, so I'm reading at the top of the page of 316. This is in that practice of Rab Zera. What is that? When he would find sages who were engaging in discussions about the coming of Mashiach, he said to them, please, I ask of you, do not delay his coming by calculating the end of days, by making times, talking about Mashiach when he's coming. As we learn in a Braita, there are three matters that comes only by means of diversion of attention, but not being aware. One of them is Mashiach. One of them is finding a lost object. And one of them is a bite of a scorpion. And you're totally unaware, just all of a sudden bites you. Like there's no noise coming, there's no barking, nothing loud. All of a sudden, the person gets bitten. You walk down the street, it's not something you can prepare for. You walk down the street, you find $100 on the floor. You find a lost object that comes out of nowhere. Mashiach will also sort of come out of nowhere. So some people interpret this to mean that Mashiach comes by not thinking about it. And a little bit like your question, if that's the case, we shouldn't think about Mashiach. Because thinking about it makes it happen less. Because it says there, Mashiach will come when people won't be talking about him anymore. So why talk about it? So could this be true, that we're supposed to not talk about Mashiach, not think about Mashiach, and that'll make him come sooner? Yes?
Is it okay? Like, I'm still going with you.
But less not
the
extreme anymore. Okay.
Yeah, not extreme. Okay. When I think about Mashiach, I think about the Rebbe.
Okay.
Am I reading faster or slower?
So again, it's not about who it is. It's about just the concept of Mashiach. If you think about it, according to this, that's why some people interpret this. So when the Rebbe came out with a campaign that every day, every opportunity, we should shout to Hashem, Ad Masai, you wouldn't remember this because it was before your time. We're talking about 1980, 1981, when this started. 1980, exactly, Simchas Torah. There were articles in the newspaper where people were writing what Lubavitch is doing is so wrong. You're not supposed to talk about Mashiach, you're not supposed to think about Mashiach. It's going to push it further away. And the Rebbe laughed at it. Why did he laugh? You take a siddur, open up the siddur, and you start reading what we do every day in davening. I mentioned this once before. I just didn't want to make a million copies, but if you open your siddur, I'm just going to read a few things. Every other page you turn, you're asking for Mashiach. And I had a friend of mine that sat down. Actually, his name was Rabbi Greenberg, the brother of Rabbi Greenberg who teaches here. He sat down and calculated how many times a day do we ask for Mashiach. If I daven 3 times a day, if I make the blessing after the meals, if I go to sleep at night and say Shema, and he calculated that every day we ask for Mashiach at least 50 times. If you eat 3 meals, look, in benching, it's about Mashiach. Even Al Hamichi, just when you eat cake or something like that, you're asking for Mashiach. In davening, first we ask for jewels should be gathered together. We should hear the shofar. The dead should come back to life. Hashem brings back to Eretz Yisrael. Let it be your will that the Beis Hamikdash should be rebuilt over and over and over. Once in Shachris, over and over and over in Mincha, over and over in Ma'ariv. And then someone comes along and says, you're not allowed to talk about Mashiach. Don't think about it. It's absurd even to think so. So what does it mean? I'm just going to conclude. So what does it mean? It means don't give a time with certainty. This day Mashiach is coming. This moment Mashiach is coming. Because when people hear that and see that, and if it doesn't happen, they're going to lose their emunah. Yes, sir.
That's my question.
That was your question. Okay. I once saw something very cute. It says there are 3 things that come when you're totally unaware. One is Mashiach. One is finding a lost object. One is a scorpion. So somebody writes like this, that it means, I think, do they have it here? No, but I saw one of the commentaries say that. It means like this, that some people, when they hear Mashiach is going to come, they'll be so excited, it's like finding a lost object. For some people, when they hear Mashiach is going to come, they'll be so not excited, it'll be like they were bit by a scorpion. Oh, my plans, I was supposed to do this, supposed to do that, Mashiach is coming, what am I going to do now? Pack up, move to Israel, I'm not ready for that. So I remember, there's a famous song that Mordechai ben David composed that became worldwide, everybody was singing it. And then again, there's Mashiach, 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 ay, 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 ay. So somebody said, there are 2 kinds of people. Some people saying Mashiach, 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 and some people say, ay, 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 ay. He's coming, oh no, we're in trouble. So basically, that's another discussion which we'll have in Mirz Hashem, that There are people who are afraid of Mashiach. They're worried about Mashiach, what's going to happen. And we have to understand that there's nothing ever that's going to be as beautiful, as amazing, as blessing, as happy as the time of Mashiach. There's nothing to worry about, not in the physical sense, not in the spiritual sense, but we'll get there. Because some people, they'll feel a bit like a scorpion, like I said, because they don't understand what Mashiach is about, and that feeling, oh, it's going to upset my plans. And some people are actually thinking about it spiritually. I'm not ready. I want to do more, become more refined and more ready for Mashiach. And the answer is, when Mashiach is going to come, it'll be so good, you'll forget about all your anxieties and all your worries, and you're not going to have to deal with that. Let's go to the next one. Rav Katina says, 6,000 years is the duration of the world, and it is in ruins for 1,000 years. The duration of the period during which the world is in ruins is derived from a verse where it says, and Hashem alone shall be exalted on that day. And the day of God lasts 1,000 years. So it means that'll be 1,000 years. Abaya says it is in ruins for 2,000 years. Not 1,000, but 2,000. Because there's a verse that says, after 2 days, he will revive us, and the third day he will revive us, and we shall live in his presence. These are words that are very difficult to understand. There's a lot of commentary on what it means, but what it seems to be implying is that after Mashiach comes, there'll be a period of, one opinion says, of 1,000 years. There'll be a period of 2,000 years where things will be different. Obviously, it'll be different in a positive way, not in a negative way. But this goes along with the general idea that even once Mashiach comes, we won't be in a standstill. We'll be constantly progressing. And there'll be greater things and bigger things and better things happening all along. Let's just look at another little piece here. It is taught in a brisa, in accordance with the opinion of Rav Katina. Just as the sabbatical year, when there's a sabbatical year, it makes us exempt from paying that debts once in 7 years. So too, the world will do the same. Its typical existence for 1,000 years. In every 7,000 year, as it is stated, and the Lord alone shall be exalted on that day. Again, interpreting that verse. And it says, Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbat, psalm, a song for the sabbatical day, meaning a day is 1,000 years, that is entirely Shabbat. And it says an explanation of the equation between the day and 1,000 years, for 1,000 years in your eyes are but like yesterday. What I just read to you probably sounds like Kabbalah. So let me just try to explain that a little bit, what it's saying here. We need to read one more paragraph. The school of Eliyahu taught 6,000 years is the duration of the world. 2,000 of the 6 are characterized by chaos. 2,000 are characterized by Torah. From the era of the patriarchs until the end of the Messianic period, and 2,000 years are the period of the coming of Mashiach. Basically, it's based on the following. You might remember in the Chumash it says, Hashem told Adam, the day you eat from this tree, that'll be the end of your life. How long did he live?
A lot longer.
A lot longer than 1 day, right? He lived for 930 years. In fact, it says he was supposed to live 1,000 years, but 70 years were taken away from his life. That's another discussion, but by the way, I'll just mention it. What it says is that King David, it was decreed that he was supposed to be born and pass away as soon as he's born. What that means, don't ask me, but that's what it says. And what happened was that Adam Arishan gave him 70 years of his life, and that's where King David had 70 years of his life to live. So he was supposed to live 1,000 years, but he gave away 70 of his years. What does that mean? Hashem said, on the day that you eat. So there's a pasuk, the verse that says, for Hashem, every day is like 1,000 years. Hashem, his scale is bigger than ours. So what for us is 1 day. So that's the case. the whole world, the way it is divided into days of the week. The first 1,000 years is like Hashem's Sunday. The second 1,000 years is Monday. The third 1,000 years is Tuesday. By the way, so where are we now? Which day in the week are we in now? Is the year 5,000? What? We're in Friday. No, we're in Friday because 5,000 passed already. So we're in the 6,000, and we're getting ready for Shabbat. Basically, what's Shabbat? Just like Shabbat during the week is a day of peace and calm, and we don't work, and we're not allowed to be even thinking about any troubles. It's the most peaceful day of the week. Spiritually, after these 6,000, then comes the 7,000. It'll be like Shabbat on the larger scale. And that's why you hear many people say the Mashiach must come by the end of the year 6,000. It's based on these words here. Then it goes on to explain that there's another source that says the first 2,000 years were chaos. The next 2,000 years are years of Torah. And the next 2,000 years are related to Mashiach. What does that mean? The first 2,000 years of creation was before the Avos, the patriarchs came into existence. It was before the Torah was given. So that was considered chaos. There was a flood, there was this. There wasn't really the life that Hashem wants in this world. The second 2,000 years, that was after the Torah was given, and that guided us in how we have to live. The last 2,000 years, which we're in that right now, and that started after the temple was destroyed, are called actually the 2,000 years related to Mashiach, which means everything that's happening in these 2,000 years is preparing us for the times of Mashiach. And in fact, there's different things that happen throughout this time. One of them is, for example, the Zohar, which was written by Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, which is the author of, he's the one who revealed the hidden secrets of Torah that were never known before. And these are things which will only be revealed once Mashiach comes. But when did they begin to be revealed? In the time of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, who lived 1,900 years ago, which means in the last 2,000 years. So this is what's happening. It's progressively becoming more and more revealed. So this helps us understand where we're at. And now we're at basically Friday afternoon. It's past midday. It's very close to Shabbos. Like somebody says, the reason why the Rebbe made a global campaign for women to light Shabbos candles is because on the global level, we're already up to candle lighting time. And we're ready to accept Shabbos. And by accepting Shabbos means bringing Mashiach into the world. In fact, what we learned here in the classes that it says that the key to bringing Mashiach is more in the hands of the women than the men. And that's why in Egypt, it was the women that brought redemption more than the men. So one of the things which also indicate is who are the ones that bring in Shabbos earlier? The women, 18 minutes before everybody else. So the men think, oh, we have another 18 minutes to go. And the women are excited, we're bringing in Shabbos earlier. It means that the women have the power to bring redemption. Yeah. It's like she was asking a question. Yeah.
I know you went first. Yesterday we were talking in your Teves about doing more could be bad, right? So if we light Shabbos candles early, it's doing more, but it's not necessarily bad. It's taking on Shabbos and getting into that energy sooner, right? That would be like the one time where
those are the kind of things, right? We're doing more is a positive thing, right? Yeah.
So the 6,000 years, it would be by not the Saturday, but the Friday, because the day starts, right? It would be by the Friday night when sundown, not Saturday.
Right, Friday
And the
night.
second thing is just now that we're in shorter days, it comes sooner.
Sooner, okay, we all agree.
also like after Shabbos ends and we're all back on our phones, it's just like, it's kind of a sad moment, you know? Like after all day being peaceful and joy, like everyone just rushes back. It's kind of, I don't know, I get very down. I'm like, oh my gosh, like even though I want to get back to the world, right? But I'm enjoying the peace so much. It's just kind of like,
You're not alone.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, oh, I wish this would stay last a little bit longer, of course.
yeah.
But that's part of our mission to be in this world. The world which is not Shabbos and transform it into becoming Shabbos. And when Mashiach comes, that's what's going to happen. Every day in the week will be like a Shabbos day. And Shabbos then will be much more than the weekdays of those days. There's some commentary, by the way, that explain and draw a parallel between Sunday, what was created on Sunday, and what happened in the first 1,000 years. What was created on Monday, what happened in the second 1,000 years. What was created on Tuesday, what happened in the third 1,000 years. And so on. But of course, once you say that it's 7,000, we become aware that, of course, this corresponds to the 7 emotional attributes. Sunday is Chesed, Monday is Gevura, Tuesday is Tiferes, Wednesday is Nesach, Thursday is Hod, Friday is Yisod, and then Shabbos is royalty, that's Malchus. And that's why we refer to Shabbos as the Shabbos Queen, and other terms that allude to royalty when it comes to Shabbos. Okay, let's continue on page 317. And here we're going to go, this is a continuation of what we said before at the bottom of page 217 yesterday.
Sorry. Sometimes
Nothing
we
to be
say,
sorry about. Please ask questions. It makes the class more interesting. Yes?
okay, thank you. Sometimes we say Mashiach is already here, and sometimes we say when Mashiach comes. So which one?
Which one is it?
Yeah.
It's a long discussion.
I think that we should ask a lot of, like, there's so many questions we have about this. And it feels a little silly to ask because it's such a big topic. Maybe we can write them down and you can pick it out of the hat. One day, like, it would be really great. I have a very silly question, for instance. I don't, you know what I mean? I can't even say it.
No question. If you wouldn't be afraid to say it, what would you say? No question is silly.
Maybe we're all sitting with the
I mean, we're all sitting with the same questions, like, okay, we're Jews, then there's Chabad, that, you know, they think this way, the Rebbe and Moshiach, and okay, then other Jews don't get it, but like, you know, the Rebbe is a big tzaddik, but where's Moshiach, you know, like, is it, like, what's going on? Like, we wanna know what.
So the general
Yeah,
policy in the way I'm working in this
Yeah.
class,
like my cousin,
yeah,
we were talking to like these Chabad kids and they're like, oh, the Rebbe's Mashiach. And then like other Jews don't really think that, right? Because we're waiting for Mashiach. Of course, we're in the same boat. We just don't have a picture of it. So where do we go, Rabbi? Like what's going on?
so if you wait a little bit, we don't want to wait for Mashiach. First of all, he's going to come and answer all the questions. But a little bit further in here, we're going to be talking about it. But generally speaking, the reason why I don't bring it up in class, because when I did, this became the topic every single class. We just couldn't get out of it. So, and I think a lot of the questions come from a lack of knowledge. Once you learn more broader knowledge on Mashiach, what it says in Gemara, what it says in the Medrash, what it says here, and what it says there, we learned Rambam, we learned other things. Once we have more general knowledge, the questions become, a lot of the questions come from a lack of knowledge.
Right.
And from people who don't realize that they're making up their own stuff about Mashiach. And then they ask questions. But when you start learning what it says in the Torah about Mashiach, not just hearsay, and you actually read what it says in the sources, a lot of the questions just disappear, which we'll get to there. And anyone who wants to discuss it one-on-one, you're very welcome to making a time. We'll sit down in my office and I'll answer all the questions. Okay, yeah.
So we want Mashiach for the world, and then we also can work on Mashiach, our own internal Geulah. Is that
Right.
And then is it possible for us to get closer to our own internal Geulah before Mashiach is exposed in the whole world?
Not only it's possible, that's almost like a prerequisite. By each person experiencing their own personal Geulah, that's how we bring the global Geulah. That's what we're supposed to do. Each one of us is supposed to sort of help ourselves get out of our own personal gullahs, and that brings all of the Eden all together as a group, as a collective identity to get rid of the goats. Yeah. So the bottom of page 317, which is a little continuation to the other part, it says like this. The Gemara asks, what is the meaning of the phrase, and it declares the end of the end and does not lie? What does that mean? Reb Shmuel bar Nachmani says that Rabbi Yonatan said, may those people calculate the end of days be cursed. Very sharp, very harsh. Why? As they would say, once the end of days that they calculate arrived, the Mashiach did not come, then it will no longer come. They're going to lose their belief in Mashiach. So what should be the proper behavior? Continue to wait for his coming, like it says, though it tarry, wait for it, lest you say we are expectantly awaiting the end of days. The end of days means the Mashiach comes. And for the Holy One, blessed be He, is not awaiting the end of days, does not want to redeem His people, and therefore Hashem is to be gracious to you, and therefore He will be exalted to have mercy upon you. Happy are all those that wait for Him. Let me explain these words with a little bit of time that we have. So this goes back to what we said before, that it's not appropriate to give a time for Mashiach, which means to give a date and say, this is the day that Mashiach is coming. But there's a problem. The problem is some of the greatest sages of our nation wrote in their Torah books times when Mashiach would come. Rashi is one of them. Ramban is another one. Reb Saadia Gaon is another one. Rambam himself spoke about the time that Mashiach would come. The Arizal, and so on. So how could we say that? In fact, Rambam is one of the people that rules and say, don't give time for Mashiach to come. And yet he himself, in one of his letters, he writes how these and these years are the times of Mashiach coming. So what does it mean? So there's two answers, two general answers, but there's also more. One answer is, when it says don't calculate and give it time, it means using other means of calculations, like based on constellations and things like that. That's unacceptable. But if a person gives a time based on something in Torah, then it's a positive thing. That's one answer. Another answer is that if a person that in the earlier generations were much further away from it, then it was considered inappropriate. Now that we're closer to the time of Mashiach, it is okay. But then there's a third question, and that's a question for Chabad, which we could talk about in class. How did the Rebbe say that Mashiach's coming is imminent and all that, when it says so clear, don't give times? So I have a question for you, a question on the question. Everyone believes Mashiach will come one day, right?
Yeah.
When he's coming, the day when he's actually really coming, would it be okay to talk about his coming or not? Or we'll also say, don't talk about it.
No, it's not. Why not?
When he's there, when it's happening, the Rebbe is not telling us, I'm giving you a time when Mashiach is coming. The Rebbe is telling us that the process of redemption is already in process. He's not talking about the future. The future is that it'll be completely finished, completed. But the fact that we're already in the process of redemption and the things that are happening in the world are not ordinary things, but are actually the amazing miracles that are part of the miracles that leading up to redemption, that means we're already in that process. When we're already in the process, you can't say, don't give it time. We're in the time. And we have to know that we're in that time. So we should do everything we can to make that sooner. To use an example of something which is a precedent, Moshe Rabbeinu came to the Jewish people in Egypt. He tell them, what was his message? Anyone know? I know it was a long time ago, it might be hard to remember. But you did read the Torah books. What does it say? What did he tell them? He's saying that you're going out of Egypt. Today, that day they went out. When he came? No. So he didn't go out that day. So what did he tell them? He said, your time of redemption has come. Now there's going to be a little bit of a process until it actually happens. And the process was that he went to Paro, and Paro says, jump in the lake. I don't want to hear what you have to say. I'm not letting the Jews out. And then one plague, and the second plague, and a third plague, and all different things happened. In the beginning, Paro made things worse. In fact, it says in the Gemara, it took a year and a half since Moshe came until the actually an hour and a half long it took. So that basically means that when he came, he was telling them the process has begun. But until the process is completed, it took time. And the same thing as the Rebbe is telling us now. The process has begun. You're witnessing things when we witness the miracles that happened in the war in Iraq, the miracles that we saw with Russia, other miracles which we talked about in class, and we will talk about it more, and even the miracles we're witnessing today. These miracles are not just ordinary miracles like we had 100 years ago or 500 years ago, different miracles. These are miracles that are part of the process of redemption. So it's different than what the Gemara talks about, giving a date, giving a time. I just want to add one more thing, which is important, and that is, but how does it make sense that these great sages gave times and it didn't happen? So the answer is, what they said was that these are times that are conducive for Mashiach to come. That a window is going to open up, and we're going to have the opportunity that if I go in right then and do what has to be done, we will bring Mashiach. Because we didn't, and why did they reveal it? Why did they publicize it? So we should take advantage. Obviously, had we done that, that could have been it. There's a story with Arizal, a very famous story, which is an example. He came to his students, it was Friday afternoon, close to Shabbos, and he said to his students that I'd like to go with all of you to Yerushalayim, to the Kotel. Ready? So they said, we're going to just go home and we tell our wives, just make sure that they're okay. They came back, and Marizal said, it's okay, we're staying here, and we'll have a good Shabbos. Later, the Arizal told them, there was a moment, and that moment, that had we all gone, first of all, what do you mean go to Yerushalayim? How long does it take to go from Tzfat? He lived in Tzfat to Yerushalayim. Obviously, he wasn't going to go with horse and wagon. They surely wouldn't go by jet or helicopter. It would have been a miraculous thing, like a Baal Shem Tov kind of story, to be transported from Tzfat to Yerushalayim right before Shabbos. But he saw that it's a moment. If everyone would go now, we can bring Mashiach. And he said, because you hesitated, we lost the moment, and it didn't happen. The Rebbe once added something so harsh and said, and that means that all the things that happened from then until now, all the unfortunate things that took place could have been avoided had they not hesitated. So there are such moments and times which are conducive for Mashiach to come. And that's what all these sages were saying. They figured out that this is the time is going to be conducive in 2 years from now, 10 years from now. Some wrote about 100 years from now. And the reason why it didn't happen was because we didn't realize to take advantage of the time. Yes, Shirley.
No, you answer.
I answered the question. Okay. Okay, so right now, if you're ready, we're going to Yerushalayim. If we daven and we bring Mashiach now, we will be transported to Yerushalayim. A good Shabbos, everybody. Enjoy. Be continued.
Yeah.